Silence. Most people run from it. They fill every quiet moment with noise, music, chatter, or distraction, because they're afraid of what they'll hear if everything stops. But real power doesn't come from constant movement. It comes from stillness, from the discipline to listen, to think, and to control what others can't even notice. In this video, we're going to explore the quiet force that shapes the strongest men and women, the power of silence. So, take a breath and listen closely. Silence builds awareness. Silence isn't emptiness. It's a mirror. When everything around you quiets down, you finally begin to see what's real. Not what others tell you, not what the world projects, but what's actually happening inside and around you. Most people never experience that kind of awareness because they're too busy running from a silence. The moment things go still, they reach for their phone, turn on music, start scrolling, or talk just to fill the space. But those who learn to stay in silence, to really sit in it, start to develop a power most people can't even imagine. Silence builds awareness because it forces you to pay attention. You start to notice details that were always there, but buried under the noise. The sound of your breathing, the way your heart rate changes when you're anxious, the subtle tension in your shoulders when you're stressed. You begin to understand your body, your thoughts, and your emotions in a way that feels almost new. When you learn to be silent, you start seeing what others miss. You pick up on tone shifts, body language, and energy. You can tell when someone is hiding something, when they're nervous, or when something's about to change in the room. Silence turns you into an observer, and observation is the foundation of wisdom. Think of a samurai before a duel. He doesn't speak. He doesn't show fear or excitement. He waits, calm, centered, and ready. His silence isn't emptiness, it's preparation. Every breath he takes sharpens his senses. He feels the wind, the weight of his blade, and even the opponent's heartbeat through stillness. In that silence, he becomes one with the moment. That's what awareness is, the ability to connect completely with the present. And in modern life, that's rare. The world teaches us to respond instantly to every message, every comment, every piece of news. Reaction has replaced reflection, but silence reverses that. It gives you space between stimulus and response, and in that space lies your power. When you stop reacting, you start choosing. You stop being dragged by emotion and start leading it. Let's say someone insults you. Most people snap back, trying to defend their pride. But a person who understands silence, they pause. They watch. They let the energy settle before acting. And often, that pause alone disarms the entire situation. Silence can be more powerful than any argument. Because silence isn't passive, it's control. It's like standing in the middle of chaos and being completely still while everyone else panics. You see what's really happening because you're not caught up in the noise. That's awareness. That's strength. When you practice silence regularly, maybe through meditation, deep thought, or even just taking quiet walks, your awareness expands beyond yourself. You begin to notice patterns in the world. You sense when opportunities are near or when danger is coming, not because of luck, but because you've trained your perception. You've tuned in to the subtleties that others overlook. This kind of awareness changes everything. Your work, your relationships, your purpose. When you listen more than you speak, people open up around you. They trust you, even without knowing why. Because in silence, you give them space, something rare and valuable. You begin to realize how much people reveal when they talk too much, and how much power lies in saying little but meaning much. Silence also builds internal awareness, self-awareness. It strips away distractions and excuses. When it's quiet, there's nowhere to hide from your thoughts. You hear the doubts, the fears, the lies you tell yourself. At first, that's uncomfortable. It's easier to drown it out with sound. But if you stay long enough, you start to understand those thoughts. You see which ones come from pain, which ones come from ego, and which ones are trying to guide you toward something better. Self-awareness is painful, but it's the beginning of growth. And silence is the only teacher patient enough to show it to you. In silence, you realize how much unnecessary noise you've allowed in your life, Not just external noise, but internal noise. Overthinking, worry, comparison. Once you see it clearly, you can start to cut it away. And what remains is focus, clarity, calm. This awareness transforms how you live. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop chasing validation or reacting to every criticism. You begin to move with purpose because you finally know what truly matters to you. You become more mindful in everything. How you walk, how you eat, how you speak, how you breathe. You notice beauty in small things, sunlight through trees, the rhythm of rain, the silence between words. Life slows down not because you're lazy, but because you're living fully. In silence, you become both student and master, always learning, always refining. When you develop that kind of awareness, even chaos can't touch you. The noise of the world becomes background music. You operate on a different frequency, calmer, sharper, and more intentional. People start to notice it. They won't always understand it, but they'll feel it. Your silence becomes presence. Your awareness becomes gravity. And here's the most powerful part. Once you've experienced true silence, you can carry it anywhere, even in noisy environments. You don't need to run away from a world. You bring calm into it. You can sit in a crowded room and still feel completely centered. That's the mark of someone who's mastered awareness through silence. Silence builds awareness. Awareness builds control. And control over your thoughts, emotions, and reactions builds power. So the next time you're tempted to fill the air with words, stop. Don't speak just to speak. Listen. Observe. Let silence do the work. You'll start to hear what's real. And once you do, you'll never want to go back to the noise. Because silence isn't the absence of sound. It's the presence of understanding. And that understanding, that quiet awareness, is where true strength begins. Silence strengthens discipline. Silence is not comfortable. It's raw, exposing, and honest. It strips away the noise that keeps most people distracted. The chatter, the scrolling, the endless stimulation that shield them from themselves. That's why so few choose it. But for those who do, silence becomes a forge. It's in that stillness where discipline takes shape, slowly, deliberately, like a blade being hammered into strength by the unseen hands of time and effort. When the world is quiet, there's nowhere to hide. You can't drown your thoughts in entertainment or validation. There's no one to impress, no crowd to applaud your effort. It's just you, your habits, your doubts, your will. That's when you see who you really are. Not the image you project, not the version others think you are, but the truth underneath. And that truth is often uncomfortable, because silence reveals every weakness, every excuse, every compromise you've made with your potential. But this is also where power is born. When no one's watching, your actions are pure. There's no reward to chase, no recognition to crave, only the quiet decision to keep showing up. Waking up before the sun, training while others sleep, reading when it's easier to scroll. Those are not acts of motivation. They're acts of discipline, carved out in solitude. Motivation fades the moment comfort disappears. Discipline endures because it's built on commitment, not emotion. Every man who has ever achieved mastery began in silence. The athlete who runs through the cold morning air, breath steady, steps rhythmic. The writer staring at a blank page, confronting the fear that he has nothing left to say. The soldier meditating before battle, centering his mind before the storm. The craftsman repeating the same motion 1,000 times until it becomes art. The monk sitting in stillness, learning that peace is not the absence of struggle, but the mastery of it. The world sees the outcome, the victory, the medal, the creation, but never the lonely hours that built it. The applause comes later, but by then it doesn't matter. Because the disciplined man doesn't train for validation. He trains for truth. He knows the real battle is not against the world. It's against his own weakness, his own laziness, his own comfort. Silence has a way of sharpening you. It makes you aware of every thought that crosses your mind, every urge that tempts you to quit. It exposes the voice that says you've done enough, or no one will notice if you skip today. And in that exposure, you have a choice. to obey that voice, or to silence it with action. Discipline grows every time you choose the latter. In the stillness, there's no distraction to numb the discomfort. You start to feel the full weight of your decisions. You realize how much of your life is spent avoiding the hard things, through excuses, through noise, through false busyness. But if you stay in that silence long enough, something changes. The discomfort doesn't disappear, it transforms. It becomes focus. It becomes peace. It becomes power. That's the paradox of silence. It feels like nothing is happening, yet everything is. Growth doesn't announce itself. It moves quietly, like roots spreading beneath the ground. You may not see the change at first, but one day, you wake up stronger, more centered, less reactive. You stop needing to prove yourself, because you've already done the work in private. The man who can sit in silence and remain composed is dangerous. Not because he's cold or detached, but because he's grounded. He's not pulled by emotion, not swayed by opinion, not desperate for attention. He's learned to operate from within. When chaos erupts, he doesn't panic, he breathes. When others crumble, he remains steady. His calm isn't weakness, it's control. The kind of control that only silence teaches. Discipline and silence are inseparable. You cannot cultivate one without the other. The man who cannot be alone cannot be disciplined, because his actions depend on external forces, the gym partner, the praise, the recognition. Take those away, and he stops. But the man who thrives in solitude is self-sustaining. He doesn't need noise to move. He doesn't need eyes on him to act. He moves because he said he would. Every morning you wake up before dawn, when the world still sleeps, and choose to work. You are building that discipline. Every time you face the task you don't want to do, but do it anyway, you are strengthening that discipline. Every time you resist the impulse to reach for distraction and instead sit with the quiet, you are mastering yourself. That's how transformation happens. Not through grand gestures, but through quiet repetitions. Through ordinary acts done with extraordinary consistency. And that's what silence gives you, consistency. Because in silence, there's no room for performance. There's no audience to please. There's only the work. The next rep, the next page, the next breath. You start to understand that greatness isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you build when no one's watching. It's the product of thousands of invisible choices, each one made in the stillness of your own mind. The noise of the world will always try to pull you away. It will tell you that you need to be seen, that you need to share, that progress doesn't count unless it's public. But the strongest men know better. They understand that true growth happens when no one is clapping, because silence teaches patience. It teaches resilience. It teaches that results come only to those who stay steady long enough for them to appear. And here's the truth, silence never lies. It shows you who you are, what you fear, and what you're made of. If you run from it, you remain weak. If you face it, you become unbreakable. Because once you've learned to be still, to work, to train, to think, to endure in silence, nothing outside of you can control you again. The storms of life will come. The noise will rise again. People will doubt you, distract you, provoke you. But you'll be unmoved, because you've already faced the hardest thing, yourself. And that's the essence of discipline. To do what must be done, regardless of who's watching, regardless of how you feel. To stay steady when the world shakes. To move forward in silence, knowing that one day, your actions will speak for you. Silence isn't emptiness. It's refinement. It's where you cut away the unnecessary, where you strip yourself down to what truly matters. It's not about isolation from the world, but connection with your purpose. So embrace the quiet. Sit with it. Train in it. Let it test you, shape you, strengthen you. Because when the noise returns, and it always will, you'll stand taller, speak less, and move with purpose. And in that moment, you'll understand what the great ones already know. Discipline is born in silence. And once it's forged there, nothing can destroy it. Silence reveals true confidence. Most people mistake volume for confidence. They think the loudest man in the room is the strongest. The one who talks the most, brags the hardest, or dominates every conversation must be the most sure of himself. But that's not confidence. That's insecurity dressed in noise. Real confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It earns it through presence. True confidence moves quietly, like a shadow. It doesn't need to prove or perform because it already knows. It's the calm in the storm, the steady gaze that unsettles those still searching for validation. When a man is truly confident, he no longer wastes energy trying to convince others of his worth. His actions, his silence, his composure, they speak louder than any boast ever could. Look at history. The greatest warriors, thinkers, and leaders weren't the ones barking orders or seeking applause. They carried an energy that made others listen before they spoke. Think of the samurai before battle, still and unmoving, their calm more intimidating than any scream. Think of Marcus Aurelius, writing words of strength and restraint to himself, not for the world. Think of men like Bruce Lee, who taught that mastery begins with self-control, that stillness is not weakness, but readiness. Silence creates gravity. It pulls attention without force. When you speak less, your words gain weight. When you move without explanation, your actions gain mystery. People begin to sense something different, a centeredness they can't quite name. They lean in, they wonder, what does he know that I don't? Why does he look so sure without saying a word? That's not manipulation, that's presence. And presence is the language of true confidence. In silence, you learn restraint, one of the rarest forms of power, because anyone can react, anyone can talk, but the one who can stay composed when provoked, who doesn't need to prove, who lets the moment breathe, that man commands respect. He's not controlled by emotion or ego. He's guided by purpose. Confidence doesn't come from being certain about everything. It comes from being at peace with uncertainty. The confident man doesn't need all the answers. He trusts himself to handle whatever comes. And that trust is built in silence, in those private battles where doubt and fear whisper loudest. The man who learns to quiet those voices inside doesn't need to silence anyone outside. You see, silence is not emptiness, it's composure. It's the space between reaction and response, the gap where strength is formed. When someone insults you, your silence says more than words ever could. It shows that you're not playing their game. When others panic, your calm becomes a lighthouse. When people rush to prove, your stillness becomes power. The loud man often speaks because he fears being ignored. The quiet man doesn't care. His focus is on doing, not displaying. And because he doesn't chase attention, attention comes to him. That's the paradox of real confidence. The less you seek validation, the more respect you earn. Every word you withhold adds to your presence. Every reaction you control adds to your strength. Silence trains you to listen, not just to others, but to yourself. You start hearing the thoughts behind your impulses, the truth behind your fears. You begin to move differently. You stop needing to fill every space with sound. You start understanding that silence itself can communicate power, boundaries, and control. When you walk into a room and say nothing, but your energy is steady, people feel it. They notice the difference between someone who seeks attention and someone who commands it. Confidence that comes from silence feels effortless, not because it lacks energy, but because it's rooted in something deeper than approval. True confidence isn't about being fearless. It's about being undisturbed. It's knowing that no matter what happens, whether you're praised or doubted, followed or ignored, you remain the same. You know your worth isn't up for debate. That kind of inner stability can't be faked. It's built through countless moments of silence, reflection, and self-confrontation. The man who practices silence learns patience. He learns not to rush his words, not to waste his breath on things that don't matter. He becomes a strategist instead of a reactor. Every pause becomes intentional. Every word becomes sharp. Every action becomes deliberate. Because silence refines, it filters out the unnecessary and leaves only what's essential. There's a reason why silence is intimidating. It forces others to face themselves. When you don't fill the air with explanations, others must sit with their own thoughts, their own discomfort. And often, that's when truth surfaces. The confident man understands this. He knows when to speak and when to let silence do the talking. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It means control. It means you've mastered the art of choosing when to engage. You're not afraid to speak, you just don't need to. You're not afraid to act, you just wait for the right moment. The loud man seeks control through dominance. The silent man gains it through composure. And when you finally do speak, when you finally choose to use your voice, it cuts through the noise like a blade. Because people know you don't waste words. They listen, not out of obligation, but out of respect. Your silence has given your voice power. In a world obsessed with being seen and heard, silence is rebellion. It's saying, I don't need your attention to validate my worth. It's choosing peace over performance, depth over display. And that choice separates those who are truly confident from those who merely appear so. Confidence built on silence is unshakable. It doesn't crumble under criticism or inflate with praise. It stays steady, like a mountain that neither boasts of its height nor fears the wind. It simply is. That's the essence of real strength, to exist fully without needing acknowledgement. So practice silence. Let it teach you to listen more than you speak, to observe more than you react, to move with intention instead of impulse. Learn to be comfortable being underestimated. Let your stillness unsettle those who mistake noise for power. Because eventually, results speak louder than words. Success, consistency, and integrity, these become your voice. And when they do, you'll realize you never needed to shout to be heard. True confidence doesn't demand attention, it commands it. It's not built on performance, but on peace. And that peace, that quiet strength that doesn't flinch, doesn't rush, doesn't beg to be seen, that's the kind of confidence no one can take away. So be still. Let your silence do the work. Let your results be the echo. And when you finally choose to speak, the world will listen. Silence is the path to mastery. Every master, in art, sport, war, or life, understands one simple truth. Progress happens quietly. The path to mastery doesn't echo with applause. It's walked alone in the unseen hours, where the only sounds are breath, movement, and thought. Silence is not a pause in progress, it is progress. It's the atmosphere in which greatness is cultivated. People love the result, the victory, the performance, the finished masterpiece. But few ever understand the silence that built it. The early mornings when the world still sleeps. The long nights of repetition when exhaustion whispers, that's enough. The solitude of practice, where there's no one to tell you that what you're doing matters. That's where mastery is born, in the quiet persistence that no one claps for. Growth never happens under bright lights. The lights come later, after you've already bled in the shadows. Mastery demands patience, humility, and a willingness to disappear for a while, to go silent, because only in silence can you hear what truly matters. Your instincts, your rhythm, your purpose. Think of nature. The seed doesn't demand attention as it grows. It breaks the soil only after weeks of quiet development beneath the surface. The arrow doesn't make noise before it flies. It sits still, perfectly aligned, waiting for release. The warrior doesn't boast before battle. He trains in silence until his movements become one with his mind. That's the rhythm of mastery. Quiet preparation before powerful execution. But in a world addicted to noise, silence feels unnatural. Everyone wants to show their progress before it's ready, to post every step, to seek validation for the process instead of the result. But the true master knows that attention is a distraction. When you chase eyes, you lose focus. When you chase improvement, you gain everything. Choosing silence in a noisy world is rebellion. It's saying, I don't need to prove I'm working. I'm just working. It's a decision to value growth over glory, to invest in the unseen, to be so focused on becoming better that you forget to perform. That's the essence of mastery, doing the work when no one is watching, refining the details no one will notice, returning to the basics again and again, not because you must, but but because you want to. The world might see mastery as perfection, but the master sees it as refinement, the endless process of improvement through quiet repetition. Silence teaches you to move with purpose. Without it, every action becomes noise, scattered, reactive, unfocused. But in silence, movement becomes deliberate. You act, not to impress, but to express. You stop rushing, because you've learned that patience is power. You stop wasting energy on proving, because you understand that real progress doesn't need to be broadcast. Every master reaches a point where they realize that silence isn't isolation, it's control. It's the art of focusing energy inward. When you can control your environment, your reactions, your emotions, you become a weapon, efficient, precise, unstoppable. The swordsman doesn't waste motion. The artist doesn't waste a stroke. The leader doesn't waste a word. That kind of efficiency is only born through silence, through years of practice where you strip away the unnecessary until only precision remains. Silence refines not only your skill, but your character. It humbles you, because in the quiet, you face your limits. You fail often. You doubt yourself deeply, and yet you continue. You learn to move without needing encouragement, to endure without needing recognition. You learn to become your own source of validation. That's the hidden beauty of silence. It forces you inward. It teaches you to listen, not to the world, but to yourself. To recognize when you're improving, even if no one notices. To trust your instincts, even when results come slowly. The master's confidence doesn't come from the crowd. It comes from the repetition, the discipline, the quiet hours of work that no one will ever see. Noise is a distraction. It feeds the ego, not the spirit. It tells you you're done when you've barely begun. But silence tells the truth. It shows you where you're weak. It shows you where you can grow. It demands honesty. Because in silence, there's no one to lie to, no one to impress. Just you, your craft, and the question, am I better than I was yesterday? Every great artist, athlete, or warrior you admire has walked through that silence. The hours of unseen struggle, the countless failures, the endless refining of skill. That's what separates the master from the amateur. The willingness to stay in the shadows until the work speaks for itself. Mastery isn't about talent, it's about time. Time spent in focused, intentional silence. It's not glamorous. It's repetitive, it's lonely, and it's often thankless. But it's also pure, because in those moments, you're free from judgment. You're not performing for anyone. You're building something real. In silence, every mistake becomes a lesson, not a failure. Every repetition becomes a brick laid in the foundation of excellence. You begin to understand that mastery is not an outcome, it's a way of life. It's a decision to never stop refining, never stop learning, never stop improving. And as the years pass, something changes. The silence that once felt heavy becomes peaceful. The solitude that once felt lonely becomes sacred. You stop needing noise because you've learned to find meaning in the stillness. The process itself becomes enough. When the time finally comes to perform, whether that means stepping onto a stage, entering a ring, or facing a challenge, you won't need to hype yourself up. You won't need noise to feel powerful. You'll already know who you are because you've met yourself in the silence 1,000 times before. That's the power of quiet mastery, confidence without arrogance, precision without rush, power without noise. It's knowing that your worth isn't defined by visibility, but by consistency. Because the truth is, silence isn't absence. It's focus. It's strength. It's the crucible where distraction burns away and clarity remains. It's the space where talent becomes skill and skill becomes art. So choose silence, not as an escape, but as a discipline. Step away from the noise long enough to hear your own rhythm again. Build in the shadows. Refine in the quiet. Let your progress grow unseen, like roots deepening underground. Then, when the world finally notices, they'll call it talent, luck, or destiny. But you'll know the truth. It was silence all along. So if you feel lost, uncertain, or restless, don't reach for more noise. Sit in silence. Listen. Think. Breathe. You'll start to hear the truth you've been avoiding. You'll feel the strength that's been waiting to wake up. Remember, noise is easy. Silence is earned. And the one who learns from silence becomes unbreakable.